Welcome to another meeting of TV Holics Anonymous. Welcome to another meeting of TV Holics Anonymous. My name is Ruru and I am a TV Holic.
My name is
Mimi. I forgot your
Sorry, I
name.
was just thinking about something. My name is Mimi and I'm a TV holic. Sorry. Full stop. Okay, so
This is season 5 of Singles Inferno, episode 11, and let's get to it.
Yeah, so it starts off with Mina-sue and Sung-hun in one of those tents, the TP things, and I was like, "What's going on? Because how did they get
me too.
here?"
I had to go back to the previous episode and be like, "Have I missed something? Did I skip a whole episode or what?"
I didn't go back, but I was like, they must be like flashbacking or something because I don't know how I ended up getting here because it felt like the last episode in that moment where they were like tying up loose ends.
I just want to warn you, episode 11 and 12 are like this, a bit messed up like this. It's just like they chopped a whole bunch of stuff together and just went ta-da!
You did say that it's not that interesting, but I actually found this interesting, this episode. I think 12 would be a bit more basic because it's like, who'd they end up with? But I found it 11 quite interesting. Okay, so Sung-hun asks, how did it go yesterday? Because he was obviously in Paradise, so he's asking how it was in Inferno. And she says, it was fun. He says, I'm a bit, he starts acting a bit weird and says, I'm a bit shy now, and starts patting his cheeks because they go all, feels like they're going red. Yeah. And she says, we both are, she's feeling nervous. And he says,
she's a liar.
I don't know, she does a mouth thing. It's the mouth thing that just gets me all the time. You know?
Yeah, she's always twitching. She's twitching.
Yeah, the mouth twitch is like something weird. I wish people could see.
She's crazy.
Okay, so she's like, we're both shy. And he says, I can't look at you in the eyes anymore, seriously. And again, I was like, how did they get here? Because we didn't have any evidence of them getting to this point. They're just like acting like they're a couple kind of thing. And she says, what did you do in Paradise? And I really think that she looked really pretty there. She's wearing that green dress. Did you not?
Yeah, but she also really looks psychotic to me, so that's why I find it a bit hard to
you're influenced by all the the personality issues.
Yeah, she looked nice. I'm gonna give her that. She looked nice. Okay?
Yeah, she looked nice.
That's all I'll give her.
He says we didn't really do much. We had dinner at the hotel and drinks. And she asks what he drank, and he says wine. I think that's a big thing, isn't it? Like what you drank, like because I remember last season it was like you drank whiskey and
because you know if it's spirits and stuff like that, you're gonna get more drunk. You know what I mean? Like with hard liquor, you're gonna get more drunk.
Yeah,
so they're
like loose and okay.
He didn't have hard liquor, and he was like off his head and things like that. You know, that's what they're worried about. If it was like an alco pop or something like that, they'd be like, oh, that's fine, or beer, that's fine.
Yeah. I assumed, So she says, look, I was in my own head worried about it the whole time that you were in Paradise. That if you talk to Hyeon, you might fall for her. And he was like, oh, why? He was like, oh, no, don't worry. And then she says, are you not even a little swayed? Like a little teeny weeny bit? Like she's trying to prod him a little bit. He says, my feelings towards you hasn't changed for me. You don't have to worry about that. And then she says in English, look, I missed you a little bit. And then he says, oh, damn. You know, his line, oh, damn.
You know, his random bits of English make him sound, they edited it up to make him sound like crazy. Not crazy, but you know what I mean, like an immature little kid.
Oh damn! It's like
I've watched a lot of his he's been on so much like Korean TV and podcasts and everything right now. Like I've seen him on guest spots on Korean TV. He's flying back and forth on the weekends and stuff to do it.
Yeah, well, I imagine he would have he'd had to have come back for the reunion, and that was like more. Was that like more recent? Is it like reunions like other programs where they do it?
No, I can't tell you nothing. I can't tell you nothing.
Right. Okay. So,
there's nothing like it's not nothing like a Bravo reunion, okay? It's nothing like that.
So then,
there's no host.
Yeah, because she said, I missed you a little bit, and he says, oh damn. She's like, no, just a little, like teasing him, and he goes, oh yeah, just a little bit. He says, look, I missed you a lot. I'm getting even more intrigued by you all the time, even more so since yesterday's trip. I just really want to find out more about you, whether we are similar or not. And then at this point, I was like, this is going to be the first time these two, a couple, are going to end up together, and they've never been to Paradise.
Maybe.
Well, yeah. I mean, my assumption is at this point, this is what my thought was in the moment. I was like, oh my god, they're going to end up together. They've never been to Paradise. They don't know nothing about each other. And then I think And the fact that, you know, he was saying that, I really am intrigued about you because I want to know if we're similar or not, is the thing that he's really hung up on having someone who's in America. And obviously she speaks English and stuff, so he must assume that she's there, but he actually doesn't know. Whereas with Heston, he knows that she is actually there. So then I thought, you know, maybe it might ruin things for him if he finds out, because she's actually studied in Mina-sue studied in the States, but she moved back to Korea for that beauty brand or something, right? She's working doing an internship.
She's doing an internship there.
Yeah, in Korea. So that wouldn't work for him. But I don't know. But he can't know. He can't find out.
I can't tell you anything.
He says, I'm curious how you feel towards me. I'm worried about that a lot. For me, it's always been you, which is true. He said that from day dot. He says, I always chose you for every trip to paradise. And they flash back to all his
day dot?
Huh?
From day dot?
Yeah, he said that from day dot.
What does that mean? What does day dot mean?
Like from, you know, from the first day.
One. Okay.
Yeah, from day one,
yeah. Okay.
Flashback, and they flash back to all his like heartfelt moments with her, where he picks her and he's like really consoling her, and like in the kitchen, and when he, you know, he brought the chair over for her to lean her, put her head on his shoulder. And I guess like persistence is key for him. Like that's what he's saying. It's like, I've always been there. It's always been you. And she says, you were always very considerate towards me, and whenever I was having a hard time, you would just like default. Like I didn't understand when she said this. I don't know if this was like a translation issue, but she said, whenever I was having a hard time, you would just like default there to listen to me. That's not a nice thing to hear. I don't want to hear that you're my default person.
There's nothing she says to him is nice to hear, and I feel really bad for him like, the whole time. Like,
I'm gonna be happy hearing that. Like, oh, you've been there for me as a default person, you know, because I couldn't get sleep in.
He's been nothing but nice to her, and also on all these reality TV shows that he's been on after, and like podcast episodes and everything, he's nothing but nice. Like, he's a very nice person, I think.
Yeah, you said that last one as well. So if I were to pick just one person, it would be you. That's what she says. And he says, damn, you know, his favorite word. And then he smiles and rubs his hands together and says, let's go, baby. You know, he likes to say that too. Let's go, baby. You know. And then she says, like, from the beginning to the end, I always tried to get to know you as a person first, and then let the romance happen beyond that. Lies.
Yeah. She's always like that.
You tried to do that. He's your default. You literally just said it. You've been my backup the whole time. She said it, basically. That's how I took it as.
Yeah.
So then she was like, I think I was also trying to avoid this from happening because we are both more comfortable in English. I wanted to explore, like, instead of just getting to my comfort zone. And then he says, yeah, that's good. It's actually cool. It's cool, actually, that we took the long way around and ended up here. It's kind of romantic. Like, he's so simple with this stuff. Like, smart in other ways, but simple with this kind of stuff.
Aren't men always that?
Yeah, and then she's doing a lot of her lip twitches again. And when she's doing the lip twitches, I feel like it's her thinking that he's getting, in my mind, I felt like he was getting really deep into it. And she was like, how am I going to get out of this now? That's how I feel.
Yeah, that's how I think she thinks as well. Like, she's constantly thinking, calculating, twisting things, having plots in her head.
What she says, I don't feel it. Like, she's like, I felt like this about you and I'm really glad and stuff. I don't feel that energy from her, really.
Because it's always a lie. It's never the truth. And that's why you don't feel it. It doesn't translate across to people.
And I think he just wants to hear what he wants to hear. So he blanks all the red flags. And he's like, I'm going to just take her for, like...
Yeah, he said it was so tough there, like, because of the toilet situation and the bathroom situation, and, like, you feel like you're, like, that's become your life. Like, you wake up in the morning and, like, everyone just gets ready and, like, gets out there to talk to the people that they want to talk to. Like, you have to be first to talk to people. And he goes, that just becomes your life, although it's just 10 days there. Like, you just think that's your life now, and, like, you just do that. And he goes, I wanted to leave, like, so many times, like, halfway through, and, like, I was going to quit.
Yeah, I mean, I think after he got rejected so much as well, like by halfway through, he was probably like, and he was getting left out of the games and stuff. Remember, he was getting it was a terrible time for him.
Yeah.
So the Mina-sue says in her confessional, I felt so shy ever since I realized I have strong feelings for Sung-hun and couldn't talk to him properly. Like, I'm fumbling everything. Yeah, again, I don't get that energy. She's saying these things, but I don't feel that.
Lies.
So the hosts are impressed that Sung-hun has stayed on the sidelines, making and like that he's really hung around and been there for her, and they think it's romantic. And then the hosts say they couldn't stand back. They couldn't do that. They couldn't like be on the sidelines like the guy host, like watch the girl I like be with everyone else and just keep waiting and waiting.
Yeah, it's not a normal thing.
Yeah, and the female host said, one of the female hosts says, "You don't come across people like that. Like he kind of reminds me of a saint or a cleric." That was like,
Yeah, it is saintly, like to have that much patience. She's trying to say that to have so much
yeah,
patience
and I think
when
she's
someone's
just
just
saying,
fucking about in your face.
and she's saying like in the dating scene, you don't like these days, especially. I don't think you find people that are patient. Like it's like moving
Yeah,
on to the next person. I'm going to swipe, find the next person, kind of
yeah.
thing. So then it's Minji's turn to go over to the guys, and it's Seung-il and Hyun-woo are like sitting talking to each other, and she's like from afar saying, "Are you guys still talking?" And making a weird face. And Hyun-woo says something, and she's like, what did you say?" Like annoyed. And then he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna dip out." Hyun-woo says, obviously leaving Seung-il to chat with Minji. And so she goes over to Seung-il,
That was just her
and
way of getting his attention, of
yeah,
saying, "Get out of there."
yeah, and being assertive and being like, like
Yeah,
I'm
Mindy,
taking
like,
charge. So this is their first conversation, obviously, proper conversation since she got back from Paradise with Subin. So she asks Sung-gil when she sits down, "What was that about? Like, what were you talking to Hwan-woo about?" And he says, "What? Can't I talk to him? Like, I can talk to him. It's fine." And then so they're like trying to like piss each other off a little bit. And then she says, "You can, but like, why? What were you talking about?" He says, "Look, I was asking his advice about figuring out your feelings, like trying to suss you out." And she says, "You don't know how I feel." He says, "How would I be able to tell?" And then I noticed he had those bandages on his legs, and then that reminded me of that terrible challenge that they had, where they were like across the trench, like
Oh yeah,
knee
yeah.
deep in the sand. Because all I could see was his like the plasters. A lot of them had all that, and on their arms. And then she says, "Look, tell me how did you feel like when I'd gone?" And he says, "Look, I felt so. I try not to think about it too much. I think I've done all I can now, and I don't want to put pressure on you." And she says that, "I actually had a lot of fun with Subin in Paradise, more than I expected." He says, "Hmm." And then she says, "Did you know that?" And he says, "No, I didn't want to hear about it. Like I didn't ask even Subin," I think he was saying. So she says it was really fun and we totally clicked with each other. And I think she was doing that at first to kind of annoy him, like really dig it in, like be like, "We really got on with each other, like we're really good." But and then she says, like, "It made me think that I might want to get to know him. But then I was watching you in the game today and my attention was on you the whole time." And that's what I said, right? I was like, I noticed her saying, "Oh my God, like, be careful, Seung-gil," and noticing him the whole
Yeah,
time.
because she's more attached to him.
Yeah. So she said, "And my attention was on you the whole time. It was hard to watch. I struggled. I watched you struggle like that, especially since it was for me." Um, and then she says, "I always feel your pain and seeing you smile makes me happy. I'm certain of my feelings now." And she says, "After having fun with Subin, I thought a lot about you. I even talked about you with him." And then he says this thing like, "Why did you talk behind my back?" And then she says, "You heard? Oh no, it's true. I do talk about you behind your back quite a lot." Like she must like talk to all the girls and everyone, and
Yeah,
he gets
yeah.
all the
I
he gets
gossip
all the
about her.
chat. Yeah. And he goes, "Well, it's okay. Thanks. I'll live a long life." Like he wasn't really that pissed off about it, obviously. So he says, "While I was here in Inferno yesterday, I was secretly hoping you would solidify your feelings for me in Paradise and reach that conclusion that you like me. That's why I didn't want to lose today in the challenge. So my aim was to win and take you straight to Paradise, and I was so annoyed that it didn't work out." She says, "After I got back, you wouldn't even look at me in the eye, so I thought you might be mad at me." And he says, "Well, what's there to be mad about? It's true, I didn't want you to look at you, but I couldn't help it." They start giggling and being a bit flirty, and she says, because I didn't take you, like you didn't want to look at me." And he says, "No, it wasn't that. It was more like, how dare she leave here holding another guy's hand?" And they laugh. The host say his facial expression changed as he came around. Like it was like a bit stern at first, and then it got all cutesy, and they softened up. And
What do you
they
think?
say the fact that Minji, yeah, I think at first they were like trying to have like a standoff with each other, like who's going to cave in first. But then they
Mm.
just started like naturally. I think they're just naturally comfortable with each other, so it naturally just became softer.
Okay.
They say, and so obviously they also say that the fact that Minji said she liked him first softened him. That's what they noticed, and the
Yeah.
host. So then Minji says in the confessional, "Subin is my type, looks and personality wise. He's great inside and out, but this strange guy who managed to overshadow that, um, this strange guy managed to overshadow that, Seung-gil. So my gut feelings for Seung-gil are stronger than I thought that my gut feelings for him was stronger than I thought because I kept thinking about him. I don't think I could bear to lose him to someone else now." So the hosts say both Seung-il and Min-ji explored it was good that they were curious about some people. They liked each other, but then they did have some curiosity, so they both explored it. Seung-il with Mina-sue and her with Soo-bin, but they've come back to each other, which makes it feel a bit more solid. And they think they're definitely going to leave Inferno together, which I think as well, obviously. There's no chance it's going to be anyone else.
Maybe.
And then Kyung-young, the host, says, okay, so they're done. They don't need any more screen time. Which is true, because thereafter, I feel like this whole episode, they didn't really get any screen time. Like, it's like, there's nothing interesting going on here. So then we have Hyun-jae and Joo-young, which was the most awkward paradise. Like, they're in the bedroom, and she's sitting on the couch, like, so far away from him, and he's on the bed, sitting there awkwardly.
Yeah.
And then they're, like, thinking, and it's silent, and he's like, are you okay over there? And she's like, yeah.
She's showing that she's pissed, basically, that he took her.
That's what I thought, yeah. And then he breathes out tensely and looks up to the ceiling, and he says, I have a lot on my mind today. And she says, there's plenty of rooms. Should we take our time to think about things and then regroup? She like literally was shutting him down.
Trying to get away from him.
She's like finding any possible way to get away from him.
But he's so much better than Jae-jin. I don't know why she likes Jae-jin, for God's sake.
And then, so after she says that, he starts laughing, because he obviously gets like, oh, okay. Like, this girl is not having any of this. And then he gets the hint. So he's like, this doesn't feel quite right. Like, it's just that I feel like I've stolen you away, like kidnapped you against your will. And then she's like, oh, look, you were entitled to choose whoever you wanted. And it's a good opportunity, since we have things to discuss. I didn't have a chance to tell you my feelings since returning from yesterday's paradise trip, which is why I had that brief convo with you earlier when I got a chance. So I thought at this point she hadn't had a conversation with him, and that's why she got picked.
But then they show the convo, and she's basically like, don't pick me, and he still picks her. But, which is his fault. It's his fault.
Correct. Yeah, I think so as well. Like, I thought, oh my God, well, she led him on, kind of thing. Like, she didn't say anything. She should have.
Yeah. She was very direct, and it's his fault. And then they just cut that scene. They just cut that scene, and they just leave. They go on to something else.
Yeah. So,
where do they go on to next? Let's see. She's just looking through her notes.
Well, she just in that moment she basically just says like, Jae-jin is the one for me, and that her mind is made up, basically. So then we go to Soo-bin and Min-ji having a chat, and she says like, what a shame, if only you were 90 kgs you would have won. They have this little conversation outside the bedrooms, and who would you have taken if you'd won? And he says, I would have taken Hyeon. She says, so you've made up your mind? And he says, the one who has been on my mind the most is Hyeon. So in Soo-bin's confessional, he says, when I was on my paradise trip, before each meal, all I was wondering was, what is Hyeon eating? And while I was swimming, I was wondering if Hyeon had swum that day as well. And judging from that fact that she keeps popping up into my head, I guess it means I like her a lot. But when with him, I also get a feeling like there's no passion behind what he's saying. Like, when he says, I like her, when he says, I like her a lot, there's like, it's like very deadpan, like when he's talking.
Because he showed so much more passion towards Mina-sue.
Yeah.
In like previous episodes and stuff, because it's like, you can see it's kind of electric there. They're like toxic relationship. It's kind of electric.
Yeah. So then it's like really rainy, and everyone gathers in the dining area to eat. And they have this bujajjigae, which look really nice, like a stew. And they're all really happy about that. So then Min-ji and Seung-il are sitting next to each other at the head of the table, and he says like, oh, looks at her and is like, we took lots of Polaroids together yesterday in Inferno. Let's have a look later. And she agrees. And look, she was so dressed down in that moment. You see, with her glasses on, and she was just wearing a hoodie. I felt like that is also a sign that she's so comfortable with him, and she does really like him. But then also not, because it's so soon. Min-ji.
Min-ji and who?
Seung-il, yeah.
And Seung-il.
Seung-il, yeah.
Yeah.
She was sitting next to him when they talk about the Polaroids. But yeah, I don't know. When you're that comfortable with someone and you're dressed like that straight away, right at the beginning, is that a sign that you're comfortable and that you don't really like them? Because I think in the beginning you're still trying to look like really good, right? So maybe
it
it's the
might
other way
be a sign
around.
that she's comfortable because she didn't look bad. I don't think she looked
But she
bad.
didn't look bad, but she wasn't like, I never
But they
seen
all
her in like her
no, but they
glasses
all
and
dress
the
in their comfortable wear after. At the end of the day, they all dress in their comfortable wear.
yeah, but I've never seen her with the glasses on because they always wear contacts and stuff normally.
Yeah, I guess.
So then Minji says, "Will the ones we took be put up as well today, Sue?" So she said, "We took some really good pictures. Subin and me took some really good pictures in paradise." Seung-il says, "Can I tell her?" Can I tell? So he turns to Minji and he says, "Can I tell?" Like whispers to her, "Can I tell Hye-sun that you guys slept in the bed together in paradise? That you and Subin did?" She doesn't know, right? And like, come on, Seung-il, this is not dinner time
I think
etiquette.
Seung-il is just shit stirring. He loves to shit
Yeah.
stir. I've noticed he shit stirs a lot. He was shit stirring on the date with, his double date with Mina-sue and the bowling date. He was shit stirring there
Yeah.
as well. He's a shit stirrer. I think
I
he
think he's
pretends
just
that he's so
immature and
innocent.
like a
He's
child.
not. What?
He's immature. This
Yeah,
is where
but
he
he
shows his age.
pretends. Yeah, but he's pretending that he's innocently not knowing what he's doing, but he always knows, and he enjoys the shit stirring.
Yeah. Yeah, he does because there's no need to say like, what is the need for this?
Yeah, but I also didn't like Minji's
It's
attitude in this moment as well. Like, if you carry on talking about it, go on, carry on talking about it.
so so then Heston is next to them and she looks up and because she hears her name, she's like, what is it? Like, tell me. And the hosts at this point are like really like perturbed and they're not really happy about this situation. They're like, why is Sung-il saying this at the dinner table? So then
Yeah,
Minji
little
looks
shit
over.
star.
Yeah, Minji looks over at Subin and says to Seung-il, like, because I think she's like worried about his reaction if they do say something to Hessen. She's like, no, you can't tell. I only told you because I thought I should be honest with you. But I felt like in the moment she was saying that's for me to tell you because I was part of the people sleeping in the bed. So I felt like it was my thing to tell you, but he can choose whether or not he tells her, and he's chosen
Yeah,
not
but
to.
why is she saying it like so openly? I would like pull him away to the side and be like, "Can you shut
I
the
would
fuck up?"
like knee hit. I would like dig him in the
Yeah,
like chest. But then that's even more
exactly.
like obvious. I don't know. So then the
But
hosts say
that's why I
that
felt like she didn't care. Like she doesn't care. Like she doesn't care about because she didn't care about
no,
Hessen's feelings
I
when she
wouldn't take
picked
it that
when she
far.
picked uh
She did
Subin
shut it
over.
down. But I
Okay.
mean, what else could she do? Like she'd already heard like him say her name, so
I just didn't like this about Minji. I like everything else about Minji, but I don't like sometimes she feels like she can trample over like the weak people. Like this is a weak people trampling over moment for me.
he's doing it, not her. She stopped
I
him.
know, but she's like joining in. She's like, "I told you not to say anything," like in front of his face. Like it's just there's no tact there.
I think she was saying it quietly. But anyway, so the hosts say, "What's wrong with them? Like Heston can totally hear you. Just stop talking. They shouldn't be messing things up for others." So Subin
Yeah,
gets up to grab something from the kitchen, and Minji gets a spoon for Seung-il. He's like, "Oh, can you get me a spoon?" So it's just Heston and him left on the table, well, in their proximity, in like their little area. And then
yeah,
Heston leans over and asks, because now her curiosity speaks. She's like, well, "What is it?" And Seung-il says, when they went to sleep, he didn't even hesitate. He didn't even say
yeah,
like,
yeah.
no, 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 I'm not going to tell you. He went straight in and he was like, when they went to sleep, they slept in the same bed in paradise. Keep this to yourself. And she really seemed shocked. Like I felt really bad.
Yeah.
And obviously that develops
Because
further.
she's quite conservative, and so is Subin's quite conservative as well. Don't you find?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're
So
both quite conservative.
the hosts say, keep this to yourself. Like, what the hell's wrong with him? Everyone on the table just heard you say it. And then Seung-il continues. Apparently, they fell asleep talking next to each other. Then he looks over. Looks over and says, "Don't make it so obvious. You'll get me in trouble."
But the whole fucking table heard. The host said that as well. The whole table heard,
Yeah.
and they did hear because he just wanted to shit stir and he wanted to upset
I
her.
don't know if the rest of the table heard, but I don't know.
Everyone's very like like pretending that they don't hear, but they hear
They're
everything. You
all
know what I
having their
mean?
little conversations. But
Hmm.
anyway, so the hosts are like, "Why would he say that? Just eat your food, man. What's his problem?" That's what they.
Yeah, because he's a shit stirrer, and I think he like derives pleasure out of things like that. He derives like some kind of like he gets a hit, like what's it called, dopamine rush or whatever.
Probably. Or do you think he's like pissed off with Subin a bit? I don't know.
Yeah, probably that as well.
Yeah.
Probably like revenge.
So
I'm
then,
gonna fuck up
but
your
I
relationship
can't
now.
really think. Like, I can't really think why. Especially when Minji like said, "Don't say anything."
Yeah,
Literally, she
because
gets up
he's
from the
trying to
table
fuck
and he
up
says it.
Subin's relationship. Because how dare you do that with my woman or whatever?
I don't
You
know.
know,
Yeah, there's something sinister.
revenge.
Um, There's something sinister about him, definitely. The way he moves is
it's not
like
normal.
sinister. I don't like it.
Yeah.
So Minji comes back on the table and says, "I can't forget what Subin told me yesterday." And her and Subin start laughing and giggling, so it's some inside joke. And Seung-il says, "Oh, what do you mean about his age and stuff? That's like what you found funny." Like he's trying to get in on it because, again, I feel like he's annoyed that they're having their little side combo. And then
Yeah.
Minji says, "I really want to try that." Then they start talking about some other stuff, about some malleting place in Songsu, so some food kind of cuisine stuff. So then Subin is in on the conversation as well. So it's just kind of Heston left on our own. And Seung-il says, "It's a famous chain restaurant in my neighborhood." Heston just looks sad the whole time when the three of them are talking about that restaurant and stuff. And then Heston in the confessional says, "It definitely took me by surprise hearing that. The way I see it, sleeping in the same bed is only something you'd ever do if you were really attracted to each other. The fact that they did that made me think, do they like each other that much, or was it something else? It also made me really anxious about his feelings for me. Like, was he not that serious about me? I felt so taken aback. I felt really bad."
Yeah. Poor thing.
Yeah, because then again, the way Seung-il, like the host, note that it was just because he, like, obviously the main reason was because he just passed out. Like, what is Seung-il know? He wasn't even there, and he wants to like wrap it up in this terrible context.
Yeah.
It's not like we should sleep together, but when you hear it indirectly, they were saying it for someone else. It obviously comes across terribly.
Yeah.
And then Da-hee says Subin was very direct with his feelings, and he told Minji he wasn't wavering at all and that he had strong feelings for Hyeon.
True.
Minji should have told her, like, so, like, you know, you were saying, like, she's not a girl, like, she wasn't being like a girl's girl in the moment. She maybe should have, like, the host is saying she should have probably gone directly to Hyeon and said that, because they all get together.
She feels like she. I feel like I said, that she can trample over people like that are weaker than her. Like in this moment, like everyone knows Heston's the weakest person there, and probably Ye-jin is the weakest person as well. So maybe people feel like they can trample all over them sometimes.
But you know, when they come back from Paradise, they'd already done this thing where the girls will get together and talk about the dates. So it's true. Minji in that moment should have like said to Heston, he did say like he still has very strong feelings for you. Like, that would have been a nice thing to do. Anyway, the hosts say that Seung-il's put all kinds of wrong ideas in her mind when nothing actually happened.
Yeah.
So Heston is in bed and she's upset. And she's like, if I had been anyone else, I would have told nothing. If there had been anyone else, I would have thought nothing of it. But it really shook me because I seriously thought we were developing a relationship that would continue after this. Since Seung-il told me after about Minji and told me after Minji and Subin had already left, we weren't.
Okay, don't read it word for word. What just happened? So basically, Thingy comes in. What's his name? What's his name?
So Sung-hun comes in and he approaches her and talks to her, and he's like makes basic conversation about the weather, and then she says, "Yeah, it's depressing," and he's like, "Are you okay?" And she just makes an excuse like, "I'm really sleepy. Maybe it's the weather. Like it's getting me down." And she's just really still in her feelings, obviously, about Subin.
He's still trying to just chat to her and find out like if she's gonna pick him or not and things like that. Like he's trying to like see who he should vote pick and things like that. And
he's like, I really can't figure out what you're thinking. When we're here, it kind of already feels like you and Subin are pretty much set in stone. So like, do I have a chance? And she says, "No, I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I'm not, and I don't think Subin is either. Obviously, because she's fresh off hearing all this stuff about Minji."
Yeah.
And he says, "Well, really, amongst us guys, the assumption is that you and Subin are a done deal." And she says, "Really? Are we? It doesn't feel that way to me." And he says, "Subin really likes you." And she says, "Well, why doesn't it feel like that?" And then he says, "I think it's because he's not good at expressing his feelings. Like, he does like you." And she agrees. He never shows his feelings. But, you know, when he went to Paradise with Minji yesterday, and then she stops before she says anything. And he says, "Look, so are you not certain? Are you not 100% set on Subin yet?" Like, he's still trying to figure out her feelings. Is that what you're saying? That's what I want to know. Like, what's going on? And she says, "I could get it in my head. I get in my head, and I don't know. I don't think I have a chance." So she's basically just unloading on him again, like similar to Mina-sue situation. I felt really bad for him because none of the girls give him any clarity. Like,
but I feel like because he's a nice guy, a lot of people use nice people to like unload onto. So I think that's what's happening here.
Yeah, but it's really unfair. They always say like we're not 100% into someone when they are. They lie. Like Heston in this moment is lying. Like she's using him as her backup again because She should just be honest and say, look, I really like him, but I don't know if he likes me. So I am 100% on him.
But maybe she did have a nice time with Sung-hun, and she wants to like explore that as well. If she feels like there's no chance with Soo-bin, maybe that's what she's thinking.
Yeah. So he says, look, that's not true. I told you already, like, Soo-bin really likes you. I know that for a fact. And she says, no, that's not true. And she starts crying. And then she says to herself, like, stop crying, Park Hye-sun. Like, she's trying to make herself feel good. And then he's like, look, it's okay to cry. And he grabs her a tissue.
Oh.
And he's like, don't think those kind of thoughts because you're seriously the best. Like, and then she starts laughing a little bit. He's like, you're the jewel of CMU, Carnegie Mellon. And she's like, look, I've had a tough day all alone. It's been really tough. And she starts crying again. And the hosts are like, she should just be like a bit more tough and like throw a bit of a fit, like, and be like, Soo-bin, how dare you? Or like, Minji, like, or Seung-il, like, be a bit
not
like.
in her nature.
That's what they're like, that it's not in her nature. Like, Jin-young, the host, says to one of the other females, like, you're like that. That's your personality. You're going to go like, be like that. But that's just not her. And the female host said, like, yeah, I'd have him by the collar. Soo-bin. So the hope is from the host that Soo-bin and her will talk it out at some point. So then we move on to Sung-min and Hyun-woo. So they're like sitting in one of the cabin things and they're talking, feeling sorry for themselves. And Sung-min's like, I really want to know how you feel. I feel like I'm doing everything I can here as well, you know. And then Hyun-woo says, all of us are doing all that we can do. Sung-min says, honestly, this is a complete torture, like my strength. And then Hyun-woo says, on the fourth day, I really cried inside. I mean, I don't ever see, the guys never really talk about their feelings.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think they do probably in the room.
No, they never talk about when they have the same. I've never seen in other series when they have the same interest in a girl that they share their feelings. That doesn't really happen. So
but I don't think Sung-min sees Hyun-woo as a threat. That's why.
Yeah, probably. I don't think either of them do, but they're just stupid, both of them. So they don't really get the main person. Like, but I think they are talking about the fact that like we've been screwed over by Egon. Like, that's basically what it is, right? Like they're feeling sorry for themselves because they're like, oh no, we took our gal. So then Sung-min's like, that's how I feel inside. Like I'm crying constantly. It's like pure torture. I'm so spent. To be honest, I said to Hyun-jae, please win because I thought that I'd be able to beat Egon. No chance, mate. Not paper doll. Yeah,
stupid paper doll.
So Hyun-woo says, tell me, though, what do you actually think of Egon? So now they're talking about their nemesis. Sung-min says, like, what his vibe? And Hyun-woo says, I mean, like, Egon muscling in, like, going after her as well. What do you think will happen? Like, I have no idea myself. Yeah, that's the problem. Like, you're clueless people. Like,
yeah, they're stupid.
Look around. Find someone else. Sung-min says, if I'm being honest, his butting in really gets on my nerves. It really does. It's annoying. I keep thinking, do you really have to butt in here? And I do get that energy from him. I feel like he is getting like really irritated. And he's thinking like, why are you hugging all the time? Why do I have to keep like? He's thinking the same thing, Egon. Like, why do I have to keep butting in? Like, you keep like hogging her the whole time. Like, Sung-min doesn't see it from his perspective. He has to butt in because you're constantly around her. Like, you don't let her breathe.
Sung-min can't shut up, and his mind can't shut up either. Okay, that's why he can't see it from anyone else's perspective apart from his own.
Like she would suffocate and pass out if you didn't let her like.
She's still spending time with him. Like I couldn't stand 5 minutes with him.
Oh my God. Hyun-woo says like, I feel like he's stealing her away from me, and then Sung-min's like, hey, you stole her away from me first, and they start laughing. And Sung-min's just like, well, the decision's up to Go-Eun. You know, no one really knows what she's gonna do. Yeah, we all do, just you don't. And then Egon and Go-Eun, so this is their follow-up to in Paradise, the follow-up to they had the swimming pool day, right? So after they're in like this fancy restaurant and Go-Eun's like, oh, the seafood looks amazing, and they dig in. And the hosts get excited because they are remembering what happened in the swimming pool, and they're like, oh my God, it's going to get better and better. Now they're in this fancy restaurant. And they're like, we still can't wait what happened in we can't forget what happened in the pool, and they act out with his arms going like, you come to me.
What did you think about that? It was like so much like.
Yeah, we talked about it last time. Like it was like a lot of sexual tension.
Yeah. Great scene.
Yeah. So then
People are
Egon,
like replaying all the Egon and Go-Eun moments like over the internet. I mean, over like TikTok and things like that.
oh,
There's so
I'm
many
sure.
like collage, not collages, like yeah, clip collages
Yes.
together like with some like some hot steamy music and things like that.
Hmm.
Interesting stuff.
So then they do like a cheers, but Egon like literally sticks his wine glass in her face, like, and says cheers, and she's like, "You're so impatient, aren't you? Like, you didn't even wait." Like, and she says, "Oh my God, we're eating so much, aren't we?" I really felt like they were a little bit giddy, right? They'd already drank quite a bit up until
Yeah,
this
yeah,
point.
yeah.
I did feel
They
that.
were drinking at the pool as well, weren't they?
And they were eating a lot, which also is a
Yeah,
sign that it's like, like they're famished after all that drink. And then he says it must be because we're more comfortable with each other, that we're eating so much. We're more at ease. And she says, I think you're right. Isn't this like our fourth meal? And he says, when we first came here together, since we first came here together, has anything changed since then for you? And she says, well, I definitely think that it's better that it's just the two of us this time. And he says, yes, that's true. Because obviously they were with Ye-jin last time when they went as a trio. And she says, when there's someone else in the picture, I think it's a lot harder for me. And they actually flash back to them in paradise. Ye-jin, Go-Eun, and Egon
yeah.
talking. It was so
The first time.
awkward
Yeah, yeah.
because you could see that she was like, Ye-jin was making all the conversation in Egon, and she literally was just like,
Sitting
she
there.
wouldn't talk. Yeah. It was more her taking the lead, Ye-jin, and she was just like nodding in agreement. And then they go back to the day, and she says, it's kind of harder for me to express my feelings openly when someone else is there as well, which is obviously.
Yeah.
So he starts dancing away whilst eating and getting excited. And she's like, is the food making you happy? And he says, no, I'm just in a good mood because I like what you said. And then she starts giggling and says, like, I like it better when it's just the two of us. I wonder what it would have been like if it was just the two of us that time. Like, they both agree that things would have been different post that date if it was just the two of them, and he starts smiling. Yeah, and I guess if they did go on that date together, just the two of them, do you think they would have been locked in by now?
Yeah, I think they would have been locked in by now.
Yeah, I think
Because it
so.
was
That,
all
I think that's
awkward
what
and
they were
weird,
getting
like
at.
because if it was a three I was gonna
Yeah,
say threesome, but it was a three people date.
yeah, yeah. I think it just delayed the stuff for them,
Yeah.
so it's frustrating. So she says, I also wonder what would have happened if the game changers had only chosen one person each, set more of the same stuff. Um, because she said Ha-eun became interested in Jae-jin because of that paradise trip too.
Yeah.
Um, so I
Which is
think she was like trying to get out of him that who would you have picked if it was just one option, me or Ye-jin, in that
yeah,
moment?
maybe.
Yeah. So he says, seriously, how? Then obviously she mentioned Hyeon, so that got him thinking or whatever. And he starts laughing and thinking about something, and he's like, "Ah, Hyeon's really cute." And then the hosts say, "What?" And then some of them are like, "Is this strategic? Like trying to make her jealous or what?" Um, if that's the case, that's again more fuckboyness, but I don't really get his intention with that stuff. But Goen says in her confessional, I get that the two of them are practically like siblings, but I don't think he should have kept talking about another girl and calling her cute when he was with me. What do you think?
Yeah, I just feel like that's just fuckboyish behavior. He's trying to make her jealous or something.
Yeah. So they flash back. So then they flash back to him on the bed, which we never saw before. Him saying, "Look, I love her," and when they were in paradise together, I love her so much. I feel happy when I'm with her, you know. And then he says it again when they're sitting in the suite having another drink, like later on in the date. She's so pure and so innocent, and it's just really awkward. And the hosts are like, "Oh God, like he did bring that up a lot. Like he kept going on about it." And then Kyung-hoon, one of the hosts, says, I don't think there was any malice on his part. He's just telling her everything that he feels. Like, he just blurts it out. And he just looking for, like, empathy, kind of sharing and empathizing. And he's just talking about someone who's with him here on the show. Like, oh, I made a friendship. Not saying she's cute, like he's interested in her, but that she's a great person. But the female host quick to say, like, no, but listen to what he's saying. Like, he's not just saying she's a great person. His words are, I'm happy when I'm with her. And no one wants to hear that.
Yeah, a few times that's fine, yeah, but like the amount he said it was quite a lot. Like the
Yeah.
flashbacks. Like I would be pissed if it was me personally. Wouldn't you be pissed if that you were with
Yeah,
him? And
I would
yeah,
be. And basically the guy host at first are like, no, he didn't mean anything by it. But then the female host was like, well, look from your perspective, like if a girl you like says that I'm happy when I'm with him, referring to another person, how would you feel? And they were like, oh yeah, no, we wouldn't like that.
yeah. Especially Dex said no. I think Dex was like no.
Yeah, and they were like, why don't you date him then? You know, they're like, I would say that. Like, why don't you just date him then? Why are you with me? So then I-Geon messes up his question and says, he starts being a bit confused and he's like, sorry, my brain isn't working very well right now.
But I don't blame him for like messing up at this stage, because he was so tired. He did so much that day. Remember, he overdid his workout, and then he did that thing, and then they went swimming, and then now they're eating. It's a long day, and and he's like,
it was. We
the
talked about
oldest
that last time
contestant.
about like, because the hosts were like, he's gonna fall asleep on this whole paradise trip.
Yeah.
And so she was like, well, are you sleepy? And he says, yeah, I'm a little out of it. Like the swimming takes it out of you, and I've done a lot of things today, a challenge. And and then he was like, look, I was working out when I saw you in order to be with you, I dug my knees into the sand, and on top of that I swam with you today. And she says, your entire day was pretty much about me. And he's like, yeah, I guess you're right, like you're on my mind all day. And she says, I am. And he starts humming and she laughs. And then Jin-young says, like, I-Geon dug himself out of that hole because he started talking about Ha-eun, but then he was like, oh, I'm really tired, like I don't know what I'm doing.
He saved himself. He
saved
saved
himself. I think so as well.
Yeah, that was a big save, but it made her feel really great about herself.
Yeah, you know, exactly.
Yeah, I'd be happy with that.
Yes. So we're on day 9 now. So should we pause?
Yep. So don't forget to follow, share, like everything, and give us 5-star reviews. Follow the podcast. Click the follow button right now, and we'll see you for part 2. Bye.
Bye.